the board surfaced, so now I need to go ahead and block it up and figure out how to make the 4 legs needed from here. So I'm going to take some measurements. One of the things I want to do is we're going to clip the corners like we did on the last project to kind of give a better looking grain pattern. Okay, I did the measurements and it turns out I don't have enough wood to do it the way I wanted to. I made a miscalculation at the lumber yard, and this board is now maybe I think I messed up my math, but it's not big enough to cut it the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to have to use another technique. A technique that's fine. I haven't done it before, so maybe it would be good to kind of go ahead and try it. These legs are slightly smaller than I needed them to be. That's okay. Because once I glue the edges on, it'll actually add thickness to it. So what I do is I take this nice quarter saw edge and I will glue it to the taper of the flat sawn sides to give the look of this quarter saw all the way around. I saw it done on the Woodsmith Shop Show, I think. So I'm going to give that a shot. I'll still be able to taper the leg and everything. I like the grain pattern there. I like the grain pattern there. And I love the grain pattern there. So I'm thinking this here is the front 2 legs for front. But then I'm not happy with the grain pattern on this side. So what I'll do is, since that can be the outside and doesn't need to be tapered, I can go ahead and veneer. And once I round the edges, you'll never even notice. So I'm going to go ahead and pull from this side. What I'm going to do on this one though is I'm going to mark V's. So I remember that that's the veneer side. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my veneer off here, but I'm going to pull it off thick. I'll probably pull it off at I was going to say a 1/2 inch, 3/8. A week has gone by since I've went ahead and rough milled the lumber. Let me show you what I've done. This is the apron stock right here. And all I've really did was took it through the planer enough to clean up both faces. So this piece here is for the aprons. This piece below is going to be for the top. This square stock here is the legs. This is the leg stock. And then this piece here is the strip. And I'm going to use this to dress up this face of the board. Okay, I want to go and run all this stuff through the planer again. Now I want to get this down to my final thickness. Now I'm not trying to hit 3/4 of an inch or anything. I just want it to be proportionate, and I will go ahead and bring them down to a reasonable size. I don't ever try to hit 3/4, or that's something for a mass-produced shop. The top will be as thick as the top needs to be. If it's a little bigger or a little smaller, as long as it looks proportionate, I'm fine with that. To shave more to bring it down to a thickness, just to me seems a waste of wood. So as long as it looks okay, plus I think it adds to the fact that this is a custom built piece. It doesn't fit a mass-produced shop's dimensions, which is usually 3/4 of an inch. So, with that said, I'm going to set up and try to figure out what these dimensions need to be. One of the things I want to try to get to today is I want to dimension the legs and glue up the leg. So this piece looks good, except for this face. And this is the face that I'm going to eventually cover up. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get my dimensions of this piece. So okay, one of the things I'm going to do is this side and this side are still really rough. In fact, this side is completely rough. So I'm going to take a skin cut over here and clean up the saw marks left from the table saw. Now, this block is actually, it's probably hard to tell in the video, but is actually rectangle. It's longer this way than this way. So I have some room to shave off here and there. And then I'll be adding thickness on the short side with the veneer strip once I plane that down. My goal is to have everything kind of cut down, sized up, and ready to go on these legs. I have this board lined up at the one end. Look how much it has warped in a week. It's deflected 1.5 inches. And I mean, it was cut from this same piece. That's a big difference. I think what we're going to have to do is cut the legs up out of this piece, trying to leave enough room for the snipe on both sides. Glue them up as individual legs, dimension them, rough them, and then cut the snipe pieces off on the table saw. So, with the veneers cut also, then that curve over time can be corrected somewhat. But I think carefully planning, figuring out where the tapers go, we'll be able to go ahead and attach that. That being said, we're not done really surfacing. I got to run the veneer through at least on one face to glue up. I'm going to get started surfacing the other stuff. It's October, what, 9th? I'm still milling wood. So I got all that stuff today. Dimensioned, run through the planer again. I cleaned up a little bit. But I gotta get some work done this weekend. I mean, we're running through. And for October, it's hot. I mean, when it's nice out. I think it's 75 today, sunny. Maybe getting high 70s. But for October, it's pretty hot. Got the garage door open, which is nice. Some natural lights coming in, even though it's terrible for videotaping. My sanity sometimes is more important. I need to cut and glue up the legs. So here are the plans. They're hard to see in the video. That's not really that important. I'm just going to be getting a measurement. This is the measurement I took earlier today. So yeah, we're looking around 22 inches for the legs, roughly. So, roughly, well, 22 inches is good. So we figured we need 2.5 for snipe, right? Which each side, that brings us to 24.5, 27.5, and then 2 extra inches for chopping, cutting, adjustments, whatever, right? So that brings us to our 29 inches. Okay, I think a lot of times people kind of spend too much time working on getting everything perfect. The dimensions of 2 inches for the legs, if they're 1 inch and 7/8, it's not really that big of a deal. A lot of times people spend hours tuning a table saw so it's within a 1/100th of an inch clearance. And if you look at the piece of wood that I'm going to glue onto this face and it was off by 1.5 inches because it warped that much. What's the point of having your table saw? It's just, this is wood. It expands, it contracts. It's not, you're not machining, engine parts or blades to a jet engine. It's wood. It's going to move. So that fraction of a inch difference isn't going to matter. It's going to move on you. But we're going to go ahead and try to figure out the best area for these legs. So I'm just going to use my little portable circ saw. I was going to use a hand saw, but I'm tired and sweaty and lazy. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off. Went and marked all the legs, so I'm just going to make this first cut. It's rough, but it works. So three more cuts to make. So I'm just going to go ahead and make those cuts, and the 4 legs are kind of cut. We have the side we still want a veneer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find the sections out of the veneer that I want and go ahead and cut them too. Went ahead and marked the piece that I'm going to be using for the veneer. Went ahead and marked it. Now I clamped it down. The clamps are out of frame, but they're there. I used 2 clamps. I'm just going to go ahead and cut these now. And I'll keep going. What we're going to do is I'm going to figure out how I want to orient these legs. Cut the legs wrong. There's enough to work with. Oh my God, I nearly just crapped my pants. These legs are all set up and ready to be glued. Now this is a foam paintbrush that I took the end off. I got that tip, sort of reader's tip I think, in one of the magazines. Glue beads right, or not beads off of it, but when it dries, it comes right off of it, so you can easily clean it. And it makes a nice spreader. Okay. So I'll go ahead and place these clamps. So go ahead and set this aside. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp up the other 3 legs, same way I did the first. I will have not enough clamps now to do the top, but I will try to cut the pieces for the top. So tomorrow I can go ahead, prep them, and glue them tomorrow as I do additional work on these legs.